says I'm on.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening to everyone. We have the agenda before us. Does anyone have any corrections, additions, or deletions from the agenda?
Concerns of trustees, telephone pole signage.
And then under new business, we're removing the purchase of lines.
Okay, I have two addition, or one deletion and one addition. Is there anything else? Okay, the agenda will stand as edited. That takes us to new business, and that takes us to the One Easton easement. Who's going to do that?
Thank you. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Steinberg, and then we have Grant Giltz who can address the board too.
And I'm going to turn it over to Grant with the preface that I know a lot of the infrastructure for the easement was trenched and installed during our original construction. So my only comments would be that I know that disturbing ground would be minimal on our property, mostly towards the corner of the detention basin that meets the asphalt on Grant's property. With that.
Hi everybody, Grant Giltz, One Easton Company. And the easement that we're referring to is a sanitary sewer easement. During the construction of the amphitheater, we had paid for to have Atlas stub a lateral basically from behind the restrooms now to the edge of the pavement for future use for concession stands and things like that. In going through our approval process with the regional planning, we submitted our plans. Everything was approved, subject to a sanitary sewer easement with Stark County Sanitary. We kind of have been getting ping pong back and forth, and I think this is now coming to a final landing. The location of the sewer lateral has been in. I think it's known. If anyone has any questions or whatever, wants to see the location, I can show you where it's at.
We've got the drawing.
Okay. And so basically, if the board approves of acknowledging where that is at, then the attorneys can actually write up a formal easement to then get recorded.
Yeah, I asked Grant to come because I couldn't say, yeah, move forward with the attorneys to do an easement without the board saying, go ahead, you don't need a resolution, I just need your okays that, yeah, we're okay to pursue what this would look like. Then we can turn it over to the attorneys to actually write that easement.
Correct. And I think Dave.
Yeah, I think because I was directly involved in all the planning with this at all our strategic meetings and everything that we did, and that line is already there. It's already existing.
Yes.
All we've got to do is at the two ends, which was planned for, connect those.
Correct.
And, for the most part, I think we just have to make sure that his line has the easement granted across our property, but by the same token, then, where it taps in, that's where we're a little confused as to how that works from where yours taps in, as to whether, obviously, there's going to be a tap-in fee, but then we don't know if based on the private person paying for the entire system, whether you will have some type of extension fee or not. That's what we'll figure out.
I don't know, but the Stark County Sanitary just needs it recorded from your property to the edge of my property, and then from my property to the actual concession stand is another easement that doesn't involve you, but on my property, Stark County Sanitary just wants to know where that little piece will, so.
Okay.
So if the board's okay with that, we can pursue looking at what an easement would look like.
This has
And I
been
can
part
call.
of, this has been part of the bigger
Yeah.
picture since we started this from the beginning, so this isn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need a formal resolution.
No, no
I think the
resolution.
consensus here is that it's been in the planning all along, we're now getting down to some of the technical issues to make it finalized.
Right.
So I think the board is
Very
good to
Okay,
continue moving
cool.
with that process.
So
Thanks
then
for
I'll
coming.
call Kelsey Sullivan, and then you'll call Dave, and then they can work together on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. We all good?
All right, thanks, Fran.
Hey, thanks, everybody.
And then item number 3 is the Spirit of the Season 5K, and we do have Jim Cheney here. Jim, you want to address the board about the race?
Good evening, everyone. I've got copies if you'd like them. This is the 3rd year for the Spirit of the Season. We are co-producing it with the Hall of Fame Village. This is on Saturday, December 9th at noon. We are starting outside the Center for Performance. I'm still getting all the names right, the Dome. And running west through towards Avondale. I'll pass this out. To you, Chief. Basically, we are heading directly west and out and back course, which means we're just going to go out, make a turn, and head right back. We got 2 different. Just, you know, the things that we typically will go through in the race room. About a week out, we'll do neighborhood notifications, so all the homes along the route will get a letter from us indicating, you know, first runner at this time, last runner at that time. We apologize in advance for whatever inconvenience. Car always wins. We just want to be safe and careful. Working with Captain Carver on everything, so the sheriff will be handling all the traffic. We are crossing Broad twice, and we will have that sort of metered as far as the first batch going through and then the second batch going through. Following the race, we'll be hanging outside of the Dome for a little while, then moving down to Shula's American Kitchen for sort of a post-race activity. I'm not 1,000% sure what's going to happen following that. I know it's the kickoff to the Hall of Fame Village's Winter Blitz. Last year, they opened up the sledding hills at that point. I'm not sure if they're going to be ready for it again this year, but we'll see what happens. We've got about 500 participants. They'll all be parking next to the Dome there that day. So again, just like to keep everyone sort of on the same page of what we're doing, and looking for an okay, I guess, to proceed with the event, working with Captain Carver.
Of course.
So
We've always enjoyed working with you.
I appreciate it. Are there any questions?
Any EMS needed, or?
So I'm gonna meet with the captain and decide how he wants to handle, you know, fire, if we want a unit there, you know, whatever the case is, so. And I should know that probably really next week.
Yeah, and obviously where we're at, sitting there, we could probably just stage it
Yeah.
at the fire station probably.
Yeah.
As always, Jim, if you need barricades or cones, we can sure supply those to you, so. just let
Yeah,
us know.
I'll definitely circle with you guys, once I meet with Captain, just to kind of go through the block and tackling of what we need.
Okay.
Including volunteers that we'll have at the intersections, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the end of new business.
That takes us to the sheriff's report. Sergeant Koenig, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How's it going with you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Came in a little early to do this?
My deal,
Oh,
can't have it just to say hi.
No.
So, yeah, good to see everybody, glad everyone is well. You should have the October monthly report before you. Our calls for service, excuse me, increased slightly, 968. Crashes were up 18% at 82 for the month. Crashes with injury stayed the same at 13. Alarms are down. I haven't seen them this low in a while. Usually they were, you know, in the 90s and the hundreds, and it seems like every year they get a little lower at 49. Our traffic stops increased by 35% with 174. Citations are up with 135. We completed 50 arrests with 151 vacation and security checks. Deputy Little had 11 cases assigned, with 2 burglaries, 2 thefts, and a death investigation closed. You should also have the year over year and the yearly comparison in front of you as well.
Okay, any questions of the sergeant? Thanks for coming in. On your day off, good job. Stay
Anytime.
safe. Okay, that now takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. Fiscal officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $612,141.84.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 4 is the financial report.
Okay, if anyone has specific questions for Tom, see him later.
Fiscal officer number 5 is the investment report.
Okay.
And fiscal officer number 6 is a resolution to authorize the following transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 7 is a resolution to authorize the refund as follows for overpayments for EMS as requested by Ohio Building.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 8A is a resolution to authorize the benefits of longevity pay reinstated by resolution 20-534 payable on November 17th, 2023 to all non-bargaining unit employees who meet the requirements of the attached schedule.
Yes.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 8A is a resolution to authorize the benefits of longevity pay payable on November 17, 2023 to members of the Plain Township Firefighters Association who meet the requirements of the attached schedule.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 9 is a resolution to set a records commission meeting for the next trustee meeting on November 28th, 2023 at 5:45 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 10 is a resolution that Plain Township fiscal officer shall hereby be authorized to transfer the amount of $500,000 from the fire district fund to 111-910-910 into the fire truck and related equipment capital fund number 4901931. The transfer of said fund shall be certified to the Stark County Auditor.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
That concludes the fiscal officer report.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to the administrator. Lisa?
Thank you. Item number 1 is a resolution for the 2024 OTA Winter Conference.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to change the trustee meeting date from December 26, 2023 to December 19th, 2023.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
Do we need to, well, we need to look at pulling up our January meeting, because honestly, that's gonna create almost a month that would go by before we would meet.
Yeah, I can take a look at that and bring it next meeting. Yeah.
it's
I mean, that's
3
a lot.
weeks for sure, so we may look at that. We can do that later though, right?
Mhm.
We
Yeah, I
just
can
wanna
bring
do
that
this
to the next
section
meeting,
right now.
yeah.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 3 is a resolution to amend Resolution 23592 for payment to the Treasurer, State of Ohio MS4 annual discharge fee, as they sent the wrong fee to us.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 4 is a resolution to amend Resolution 23143 to update the travel policy.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Yep, the amendment is, what we're amending is over 18 years of the per diem, which is really, really sorely out of date, so that's the amendment.
Okay. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 5 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to Sarshone Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for the purchase of 3 sheriff vehicles.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
This has been a long time coming. We have desperately needed vehicles. I know the sheriff has switched to allow us to get vehicles from Ford. These Dodge vehicles, they're actually being picked up tomorrow.
It's kind of like being in line, waiting for them.
Well, they were from Kentucky, and that's why we had to move so quickly, because they were getting picked off left and right. And had we waited, we would be without vehicles again. Now, that doesn't mean when Ford opens state term pricing and they get some vehicles, that doesn't mean we may not be looking at vehicles, because I don't want to get in the same situation where we're years out on vehicles and then struggling to get them.
Just hope we don't have the performance issues that we had with some of the other Dodges.
Yeah.
I know the
Yeah.
quality's improved, but it's,
Yeah.
those were short-lived, the last ones compared to.
Apparently the engines are not the same as what they were manufacturing the Chargers with. It's an updated, newer engine. I've seen some of the, I know the state has gotten some already. They're fairly new,
Yeah.
but there are other agencies purchasing some as well because of the,
Yeah.
because of
Yeah,
the
There was a
shortage.
they're in
huge
the
competition
same
to
boat
get
we
these
are.
vehicles.
Yeah, yeah, I don't believe Ford, they've closed their ordering.
Yeah, they never even opened the ordering.
And there's no set time on when they're even gonna be open,
Oh.
so, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not anymore one. Vehicles for us, we're buying a spot in line.
Right, absolutely.
We're not really buying a vehicle, we're buying a place in line.
Yep,
Especially depending upon how big the equipment is.
Yeah.
What were we talking earlier today? One of the pieces of equipment's 42 to 48 months out.
Yeah. Jeez. Would be nasty for those that have fires or accidents in those vehicles.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna wait forever for them.
Yeah.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Admin number 6 is a resolution to authorize payment to Hall Public Safety uplifters for equipment for the 3 2023 Sheriff Dodge truck Durangos.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Admin number 7 is a resolution to amend Resolution 22665 to adopt the updated disaster recovery policy.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. That's the end of the
Thanks,
administrative
Lisa.
report.
That takes us to the Fire Department Chief Schallenberger.
Thank you. Item number 1 is our monthly report. Lots of fall activities, that's just a few of them on there, but I think road, fire, and parks were very busy this fall with
Yeah.
programs.
A lot of community interaction, which is good.
That's what passes the helps
Yeah.
pass the levies too.
If you have any specific questions of the chief, see him later. Number 2, Chuck.
Item number 2 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment to ESO for web-based fire and EMS reporting.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees for purchase and payment of service contract for one Striker Power Pro cot.
I'll move on, fire department number 3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees for purchase and payment and installation of 5 windows from Canton Aluminum at our Station 2 on Middle Branch Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 5 is a resolution to extend employment to Brittany Lennon for a position of part-time firefighter EMT basic with pending background and medical examination.
I'll move on, fire department number 5.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion,
Do we already know if this is an individual that would be working towards paramedic?
I think
Too early to tell.
potentially, yes, that person might, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the goal for most of them, I think, so.
anything else, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And item number 6 is a resolution to extend offer employment to Shane McKenzie for a part-time EMT basic pending physical and background checks.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department, thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. That takes us to road, JP.
Thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to say how appreciative we are of the Plain Township residents for the recent support of our road levy. We're here to serve them, and we truly have the best residents in Stark County, probably in Ohio. So we're just ready to continue to pave roads and plow snow. So hopefully we get some this winter.
Curse you on this.
I was gonna say, put more emphasis on
The
paving
paving
versus.
excited
about
Yeah.
We should spend some money on investing in some equipment, so we might at least want to use it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good snow was.
Road item number 1 is the monthly report.
That backyard looks night and day difference.
Yeah, we put a couple action shots there of the back lot and the additional tank storage that we have for our liquid, so some pretty big upgrades there for our facility.
You didn't see me do the drive-through today.
What's that?
You didn't see me do the
I
drive.
seen you,
No.
do the quick drive-through.
How soon till the building's out back?
They said it was 6 to 8 weeks out, and we ordered it he ordered it about 6 weeks ago, so.
So they're coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this
Close.
point, honestly, if it, we're gonna let that back lot sit up a little bit, harden up with those grindings, so at this point, they can work on it all winter, it's not gonna hold up anything that we need, so.
I know one of the things while I was down there, and I think it was Drew, was talking with our neighbor to the south. And that stuff that's technically encroaching on our property. I know you were handed a paper or papers
Yeah.
from the resident. Have we talked through
Yeah,
that with
Aaron
Eric at all?
Yeah, we've discussed it.
But do we get to the point where like, we push them to like get that stuff off of our property?
I mean, that's up to you guys. That's,
I mean, it's overgrown and just, there's a level there that, I mean, nothing's happened to this point, but certainly something could. If anybody's gonna pull something, I wouldn't put it past the current resident, given the long-standing history there. I just feel more comfortable if he keeps his own stuff on his own property. That's just me.
We've got, I think for the most part, if I recall, it's mostly on the side.
Yeah.
It's not in the back, it appears that the back is
Yeah,
okay.
it's on the side property there.
But for whatever reason, he just periodically shows up to just nitpick about something that we're doing, and I think we've been a good neighbor to this point.
I think we've certainly
And-
improved that over the last 2 years.
I'm good sending him a letter to tell him he's gonna have to move his stuff over on his own property.
Yeah, and again, that's up to you guys, but, you know, we're, first and foremost, we're not gonna change our backup alarms. Those are federal and state mandated safety equipment, so we're not gonna take those off of the loader, we're not gonna look at a white noise. You know, next we'll be asking fire to remove the sirens, or change it to Christmas music or something. I mean, those, to me, those are just silly requests, and we're simply not gonna jeopardize the safety of our crew, our staff, or the residents, or the traveling public, because of the noise. And honestly, those are only, you know, we get started by about 7:30, you know, because we know 7 AM, people are getting up, and usually we're winding down by 3 PM. Now, granted, winter time is different, because we're, you know, maybe 3 AM, but other than that, that's so far away from the residents that, you know, maybe at, you know, John's Bar or somebody would hear those. But other than that, a daily 98% of the day, or the time, you're only hearing those sirens, or the backup alarms between 7:30 and 3 o'clock.
Do we have a liability at all, Barry, with that being on our property?
I mean, there's always a chance something could happen, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but-
it's probably remote.
I mean, I just don't, I mean, if it's not hurting anything, but how much of it's sticking out? I mean, if it's a lot,
Well, it's over.
you know, yeah,
It's all
because,
buried under overgrowth, that's.
yeah, and here's the other thing. That he contends that he's mowing our property, so it should be his. I contend we can't mow our property because his stuff is on it. So worst case scenario, get your stuff off of our property so we can rightfully mow it. That's my contention. And then that issue is gonna go away. Because we didn't ask him to mow our grass, we didn't want him to mow our grass, but he has this belief that if I mow it, I can own it. Well, pretty much over the last 20 years, I'd own 2 feet of my neighbor's property too, if that was the case. But it's not. So that's my issue. I would gear it towards more that we want to maintain our own property, and we can't do that with your whatever on our property.
And honestly, we gotta look at, you know, future growth of the township.
Yeah.
You know, we own that lot, we only have an entrance and exit, we're using the same gate, so if something would happen, we need a second entrance, we'd certainly have
Yeah.
to look at that. But, you know, as they brought in that big equipment, they had to unload it out on the road and drive it back there, because they can't make that turn around our building, so.
I mean, that's just me to start with. I don't know how you guys feel, but
No, I agree.
I think it, personally, we'll call it a soft letter going.
yeah,
Listen, through this project, we've identified X,
Absolutely.
and specify that, let it come from you, I think, have it come from
Start with
JP
him, and
first,
then I can go if we don't
Yep.
see anywhere.
versus hitting it right up.
Yeah, absolutely.
all
Because if
right.
you
I just think it's a good place to start.
I agree 100%.
Okay.
All
Let me see, next,
right. Gotta find my screen spot.
number 2, Dan.
Yeah, road item number 2 is a resolution to authorize reimbursement to Daniel Hall for the health club visits.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. And road item number 3 is a resolution to purchase the B-Heat liquid de-icer from K-Tech Specialty Coatings.
I will move on. Road number 3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Let's just hope we don't have to use much.
I know, I get you. And that concludes road.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to zoning, Mr. Ferrara.
Thank you, sir. First item on the agenda is a monthly report.
All fall-like. Any questions of Tom? See him later. Number 2.
The second item on the agenda is a resolution to declare items A and B as nuisance abatements.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
And item 3 is a resolution to declare items A through E as nuisance abatement pays.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo,
Yes.
Mr. Hawes.
Yes.
That's all for zoning.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to parks. Mr. Steinberg.
Thanks. Item number 1 is the monthly report.
I'm going to just everybody's efforts for Saturday with Salute. Certainly it was a little longer than I planned, but it was all for good reasons, unless the one health incident right at the end. I don't think there was any major hiccups or anything, so nice work by everybody.
Good job. That takes us to Parks 2, number 2.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to approve purchase and payment to Central Farm and Garden for grass seed.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes,
Yes.
Mrs. Harless,
Yes.
Mr. Sabo.
Yes.
Thanks. That concludes parks.
Okay, that takes us to communications.
Thank you. Item number 1 on communications is to Mr. Steinberg. It reads, Rob, on behalf of our Majestic Voice family, I wanted to let you know what a great event that was. Talking with some people afterwards, they said it was emotional and they loved the music and the food. We are always grateful when we can serve the community and the veterans at an event like this. It was well organized and we compliment you on that. Thank you for inviting us to sing, Larry.
Very good. Nice.
And item number 2 is to the Plain Township Fire and Road Department, although JP might have written in road there, it's written in a little different ink, but
Yeah.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, it's to both of them. But it reads, thank you for all you do to make Plain Local the best community for students and families. We greatly appreciate the time and effort you put into partnering with us for Booth the School tonight. With gratitude, Jess Roa.
Very good.
And that's the end of communications.
Okay. That takes us to the portion of the meeting of public speaks. If there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board, please feel free to stay at the spot you are, come to the podium, or you can even sit down. But if you speak, you have to give your name and address to the fiscal officer.
My compliments to Saturday.
Uh,
Preparation,
Could you give your name, please?
Patricia Van Boris. I am Brooke's aunt,
Okay, thank you.
and it was very well done. And I have been away from Stark County for a while, and your amphitheater and your veterans garden is fantastic. I was born and raised here in Stark County, but I had to move for a couple of years, and what you have done is just beautiful
Thank you.
and greatly appreciated.
That was a team effort by everyone here and all the other employees who have their fingerprints all over the pride that they do to maintain it.
I acknowledge
So,
that. I
thank
know
you
what it
very
goes
much.
into.
And we'll make sure we pass that along as well. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. That takes us to concerns of trustees. Scott, you have one regarding telephone pole signs that are growing like crazy.
So you guys know I've been railing on this for 6 to 9 months. And it's been a frustration of all of ours because it's essentially attractive nuisance. It's safety issues in some instances. I think last meeting or 2 meetings ago, I told you I was getting traction with Kirk Shuring. We'll work on the state law, and what I'm going to say tonight is not going to delay or stop those efforts. But I was able to get connected with the right people at AT&T and AEP, and we have in writing approval that the township can remove all signs from those poles. Any of those businesses, they can be removed. I've chatted with Eric on this. Now, they did provide a graphic as to the area. We shouldn't be out with a bucket truck trying to get within a certain proximity. I think it's a couple feet low. I'll make sure the graphic we can get forwarded.
I just asked you
I
if
don't
you've seen
I
it.
don't think I got
No,
that.
I was waiting till I chatted with him just to make sure there was nothing on a technicality. I think for the sake of process, where we have an obligation though, and Eric, keep me honest here, we need to sit on them for an identified period of time, whether that's 2 weeks or that's four weeks, 30 days. And then if they're not picked up within 30 days, they hit the recycle, they hit the trash can or whatever. But I think as a part of this, I know AEP through their emails to us as elected officials, to the County Township Association, they've been clear that nothing, and this goes for garage sale signs, yard sales, like nothing on these poles. AT&T, AEP were, without hesitation said absolutely nothing's to be on those. The only thing that would potentially become permissible, and it has to go through their permitting process, would be, high school banners or something like that. So what I would like to see, and I know, John, you were starting to reference it, not that we have tons of slow time, but when it's slower, that we're going out and we're removing all these signs. And I think honestly in the next newsletter, we need to make it explicitly clear to the businesses as well as anybody else who may be paying attention. If their signs show up on the poles, they're coming down. I mean, it's just, it's trash, it's garbage. And we finally have something in writing to be able to take action on it. And I know I plan on sharing it with the rest of the County Township Association folks, because they can reach out to the individual, again, get something in writing and be able to safely proceed.
I'll
So,
allow some of that too. I mean, there are trustees in other townships that drive plow trucks, so I think I can take signs down.
I think we're gonna have to, honestly, we'll have to have probably some drip. It's
Yeah.
not just, because how some of them with leg bolts to screws with washers, the whole nine yards.
Something
You know,
taking some time.
we don't need to go about being worried about surgically
Yeah.
removing them. If they tear, they're not to be there in the first place. They're not to be there in the first place. And I know one of the judges downtown had already indicated that if it comes before them, it's already technically trespassing, because there was a lawsuit last year and a couple of years ago. Well, you had spoke to it,
Yeah.
where the businesses were arguing it was something of value.
Right.
Essentially, the judges, I don't think weren't gonna have anything to do with it, so.
approach, trespassing.
Yeah.
And I'll work with JP and we'll
Yeah.
develop also a written policy that we can put.
But, yeah, because, I mean,
So that people know.
yeah,
Where
exactly.
the signs are stored,
Right,
and how
yeah.
long.
How you can get them back, that kind of stuff.
Okay, I think it's a worthy project. Okay, nothing for the fiscal officer. That takes us to the approval of the meeting for October 24th, and I will move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. We do not have a need for an executive session, so I will move for adjournment at 6:38 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.